Good evening. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I'm a little tall. Oh my gosh, these stories have been so beautiful. Thank you to everyone who's come up before me. This has been amazing. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about fear. And we know everyone's afraid of something, right? Fears and phobias are just as common as the black person be the first one to die in a horror film. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much expected. And whatever you're scared of doesn't have to be something that everyone agrees is scary, right? So for example, some folks are really scared of spiders, and I totally get that. 8 legs, they pretty much always appear out of nowhere, and you don't really know which ones are the murderers or not. But then some folks are really scared of sitting in a small room alone. Some people are literally scared of being tickled to death, and then some folks are really scared to talk in front of people. I'm not scared to talk in front of anybody. But what I'm scared of is white Jesus. Wait a minute. Wait a second, guys. Wait, I'm not racist or anything. I love white people for the most part, and I love Jesus. I've learned a lot from his teachings, but I think it's more so the combination that kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I have context, though. Imagine 7-year-old Talibah. That's me, by the way. I didn't say that when I came up here. I'm walking into this huge house, smelling like mothballs and filled with framed photos, decorative hanging plates, napkins, church fans, business cards, and a blanket with the face of white Jesus hanging on a cross, bleeding from hands and head, and kind of suggesting that I should give my life to him. You know what? It's really just freaking me the fuck out just thinking about it. It was my Aunt Willie Mae. She was my great-grandmother's sister, and she lived to be over 100 years old. She lived down the road from us in Orange Mound. My sister was over here talking about being from Orange Mound. Woo woo! But we only visited her twice a year because she was a very ornery, very neat, rude old lady. She would always tell my mom about the weight she'd gained and suggest to my father that he needed to cut his hair off, but he had locks that gloriously hung to his waist. And she would always give me and my brother 2 rolls of pennies each, $1 full till I was 16 years old. Yeah, she had plastic on all of her good furniture. And there were rooms in her house that we were literally banned from entering. I also didn't mention those whisker-filled kisses that she would give us on the way out of the house. I mean, it was like literally a terrifying scene. Yeah. But now that I think about it, I don't know if it's white Jesus that I'm scared of. It might more so just be the dread of visiting my Aunt Willie, but nevertheless, every time I see one of those looming photos of white Jesus, I just have to hold my whole body together, my cheeks and everything. I mean my ass cheeks, because when I get nervous, I get gassed. It's like uncontrollable flatulation when I'm scared. And people think that the reason I don't go to church is because I'm a heathen, but really that's only half of it. The other half is I don't really know if when I walk into a church, there's going to be photos of white Jesus on the walls, whether it's a white church or not. And now that I think about it, I think the fear might kind of be associated with the reason why black people would glorify a white representation of Jesus in the first place. Slavery. Yeah, slavery is kind of the reason why folks didn't connect the dots or question authority. The fear of a white God paired with the fear of a white master led to fear and submission to white people. And the millennial generation really is still healing from that, not just from slavery, but like everything that happened afterwards, like Jim Crow, mass incarceration, mass lynchings, the murders of black liberation leaders, and police brutality. I'm saying this stuff because a lot of it is still happening right now. Yeah. And the reason why it's lasted so long is because our culture was stripped, right? And we've had this subsequent adaptation into a culture that doesn't entirely feel like our own. We add our remixes and our flavor here and there. So So to imagine someone of my bloodline being so committed to the idea of her God being white is a manifestation of our ancestors' greatest fears: invalidation, inferiority, and erasure. I kind of switched it up on y'all real quick, like y'all wasn't expecting that. But it's really important when you think about a fear to dig to the root of where it comes from. So thank you for rolling with me. We think kind of about this brainwashing that it might take for a group of people to just skip right over the part of the Bible that talks about his feet of burnished brass and hair of white wool. And I don't know anybody in here, I don't know very much about you, but I have never seen a white person with hair like white wool. I'm just saying. All right, there I go digressing again, but I think that I figured out the nature of my fear. I think it's more so of ignorance and people's willingness to just look over details, to not see the divinity within themselves, to look outside of themselves and not try to find the evidence of God abound. It's literally everywhere, and it's everything. So in my mind, I'm hoping that my Aunt Willie, who's passed now, is the good ghost that's going around whispering in people's ears, pay attention to the signs. Yeah. I always think that when I pass over, I'll be able to reconnect with my ancestors, and if she's that guy, then I look forward to meeting her again. Speaking of passing over, I know that's another thing that a lot of people are scared of, is death. I'm not afraid to die. And at 27, I really hope that it doesn't come soon. But for real, you never really know. And I imagine that the only way to prepare yourself for a good death is to live a good life. So that really just means spending time with people that you actually like, doing things that you genuinely enjoy doing, and sharing your wealth, whether it comes in a form of knowledge or kindness or something material. Just give, right? Yeah. But you know what would be funny though? Is if I died and the first place I saw was white Jesus sitting there looking at me, pointing down like, girl, you know exactly where to go. Then I'll know it was thanks to this monologue, and y'all will be coming right down there with me. So thanks Planned Parenthood, thanks Elizabeth. But wait, it's not done yet. That wouldn't be the first time that I contemplated this idea. When I was 8 years old, my Aunt Etta told me that I was going to hell because I hadn't been baptized yet. And I remember telling my mother about it, and she said, you continue to be the best person that you know how to be, and you don't have anything to worry about. And then she proceeded to curse my aunt up and down, probably heightening her chances of burning in hell with me. But we won't deal with that. My family was always kind of the black sheep of the larger Arnett crew. That's my last name, by the way. My parents always kind of taught us that God and religion was whatever we choose to make it. So for me, I choose to spend my time writing songs and sharing the music that I use as therapy to anybody who's willing to listen. I spend time at home cooking good food and making tinctures that I share with my love and my friends so that they can feel healthy and youthful and intentional and loving to their bodies. And I share the things that help me to feel sane and divine and connected and loved to anybody who's willing to listen. And lastly, I hang a bunch of pictures of black women all on my walls because my God looks like me. And I can't. Okay. Now wait, one thing, if anybody smells a scent in the air, I brought incense, don't worry about it. I told you earlier, when I get nervous, I get gas, and there's a lot of white people in here, and I'm talking about white Jesus, so sorry. Not really sorry. Thanks, guys.